Is it just me, or should we be a little bit worried about movie star Shia LaBeouf?
Were you on any drugs, Shia?
Dre, that's Prince.
Any more higher up?
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah. Any closer to the...
Yeah, let's stay. We're good with what we got, I think.
What is it in your soul that you're sharing?
My
You said you're trying to share your soul.
Yeah, my vulnerability, my truth, my history, my past, my feelings, the ebb and flow of my feelings. It's quite a loaded question. You're basically asking me what a soul consists of, huh?
All right, this is a real show. I thought you guys were tricking people.
It seemed like the least crazy thing I've seen him do in a while.
If you're gonna do hide and seek, actually that.
Please do not send any hate or honestly comments of any kind to anyone mentioned in this video on behalf of me or yourself. The purpose of this video is to give my commentary and opinion on matters of public concern. Thank you.
Did y'all see these pictures of Shia LaBeouf? That's Shia LaBeouf, the kid from Even Stevens. Yes, it is. I came across these pictures. I don't exactly remember because it's all a blur in what is time, but it had something to do with when I was either researching the Olympics, the Bacchus festival they had, and I was, I made a whole entire video on my other channel called like, what is Dionysus or something, I don't know. Suppressed. Anyway, so I came across this picture and I also came back across it again because I covered the lawsuit that was going down between Shia LaBeouf and one of his ex-partners, artist known as FKA Twigs. Okay, why is he dressed like this? That's what I wanted to know. Some type of, I don't know, humiliation parade perhaps or something? Does somebody have dirt on this man? Is it for an acting role? I don't know, but I was dying to figure it out. So let me just show you what I found. So I think a good place to start as any is the Wikipedia page for Shia LaBeouf, which I personally have reason to believe based on public records. Maybe Shia LaBeouf's mom contributed to the writing of this Wikipedia page, but okay, so here's what it says. LaBeouf was born on June 11th, 1986 in Los Angeles, California. He is the only child of visual artist, jewelry designer, and dancer Shayna Saida and professional clown Cajun Jeffrey LaBeouf. His mother died, unfortunately, of heart failure in August 2022. His mother was Jewish and his Cajun father is Christian. So this means I'm probably genetically related to Shia LaBeouf somehow, some way. I mean, I never did that 23andMe, but my sister did. And when she did it, it said like 40% geographically Louisiana, French, Creole, Cajun, something about Louisiana, Cajun in the name, Cajun French maybe. So if they're putting Cajun in this man's title on his Wikipedia page, I mean, we probably cousins. Not that that necessarily would particularly be the best thing. I'm just saying the chances are high. Shia has stated that he was raised around both sides, meaning that he was raised within both religions, both Judaism and Christianity. He was baptized and also bar mitzvahed, according to this Wikipedia page.
I mean, yeah, so I'm half Cajun, so yeah, I'm a hot sauce guy, but I'm also half Jewish, so I'm a little frightened.
And I don't know what kind of camp. They could specify a bit. Quote from Wikipedia, quote, one of the camps he attended was Christian. His whole life seems to be based on holes, or holes is based on it.
His first run-in with the law occurred in 1995 when he was only 9 years old, getting caught attempting to steal a pair of Nike Cortez shoes. Then a couple of years later, he also got caught trying to steal a Game Boy.
But yeah, growing up in LA, Shia's family struggled a lot financially, and his mom sold jewelry on the side of the road in Echo Park, which is known to be a pretty rough neighborhood to grow up in.
Shayna Said and Jeffrey LaBeouf could never find an audience for their work, sending them straight into poverty as a family. His mother would end up selling fabrics and jewelry in a poverty-stricken area of Echo Park, Los Angeles, while his father, a former Vietnam veteran, would sell hot dogs and perform as a street clown to get by.
She was selling jewelry on the side, quote, on the side of the road, quote. It's dangerous. It was dangerous. What kind of jewelry, I wonder? I mean, this is the thing, like I have all these side questions. It's widely reported that the father, the Cajun French Louisiana rodeo circus theater clown father, it's widely reported that he had struggled with substance abuse and use and stuff like that. I don't know, I certainly wasn't there. I didn't run the tests, didn't see the reports, but that's what's reported, And so now let's talk a little bit about Shia's early career, but just bear in mind, I'm trying to get to the end to why is Shia LaBeouf dressed like this. So we're gonna just breeze through some of these points. I'm aware there's a lot more happened. I know I missed, whatever. Okay, y'all go make a video about it. All right, thank you. For some people, y'all might not understand, y'all might not realize, maybe they were, maybe not even the young people, it could be the old people. No offense. But there's like a generation of people, me included, you couldn't ignore Shia LaBeouf and his movies and his appearances, and then he ended up dating Megan Fox. I mean, he was huge. He was huge. You couldn't look one way or the other without seeing his face on the Disney Channel. Some of the stuff he was involved in, I mean, the biggest, like the first thing I remember is he was in this show called Even Stevens, which was like a Disney Channel original series about a family. The mom was a congressperson. The dad was like, what did he do? Stay-at-home dad or something? I don't remember what he was doing.
There are a few references to clowns on Even Stevens, from Lewis wearing a clown wig and riding a unicycle he stole from a clown in season 1, to Lewis painting a sad clown in season 2. As far as we know, these weren't conscious nods to his father. But with hindsight, it's almost impossible to look at this stuff and not make the connection.
And then Lewis Stevens is the character that was played by Shia LaBeouf, and he was really iconic. He was like a prankster, trickster type or whatever. He was huge. And then once he moved on from that role, he was all over Disney Channel for other stuff. Then he started doing real movies, you know, big boy movies outside of Disney and all that. Holes, you know, based on the book, but really strange because it ends up being like the kid in the movie Holes or the book also like steals a pair of shoes, and he gets sent away to one of these like teen labor camps, like, you know. Then some weird stuff happens, mystical stuff. They got to carry an old lady to the top of the mountain because to get some splooge. It's very strange, and especially now knowing what I know.
In the book, Stanley's fat, and because of the rigors of production, finding a chubby boy that could then toughen up and lose weight was, you know, virtually impossible to ask of a teenager. The shooting schedule was all over the place. We didn't shoot in continuity, so we just couldn't have done it. So we had to put that aside and just look for a great actor. And Andy said, you know, what I really want is, you know, a young Tom Hanks. I know it's kind of corny to say that, but that's what he wanted. And the tape arrived at my house on a Saturday morning of Shia's audition, and I just called Andy and I said, you not only got a young Tom Hanks, you got a cross between Dustin Hoffman and Tom Hanks.
Reading the script, because things that are in the book aren't in the script, and, you know, things that are in the script aren't in the book. We still stayed true to it, but there were certain things that didn't apply anymore. I read it after I got the role, because I mean, we jumped right off Even Stevens into the role. When I read it, it was addicting.
14 lizards, 4 of them played the principal part. The rest were background atmosphere.
But we were eating that up. We were loving the Holes movie, Madame Zelensky, all of that.
You and your family will be cursed for always and eternity.
So he was in Holes, Disturbia. He was in Transformers. That's where he met Megan Fox. So this is like he's at the top of his game. Despite his success, his life began to spiral with several arrests and public incidents.
Shia, were you on any drugs? Were you on any drugs, Shia?
Causing his image to tarnish and his career to suffer.
I'm done. I'm sure they'll make more of them. It's still a very hot franchise and very, you know, there's still value in it. I think people will still go to see it. I just don't know if I have anything to contribute.
So you're basically replacing Shia LaBeouf for like a whole new storyline?
So he does this art installation exhibit where it's basically a performance art piece. I don't like to call it art. It don't feel like art to me. It feels like some type of strange torture or like public display of weird sexual kink or something weird.
It seemed very sad. He was like crying the whole time. And instead of making jokes, I just kind of was like, you seem like you're in a lot of pain. It was trippy. And everyone thinks he's so crazy.
I don't think it's art.
Drew McWeeny with HitFix. We're here outside the gallery on Beverly Boulevard where Shia LaBeouf took up residency yesterday for an art installation in which he is apologizing, although silent, directly to the public.
But so he stood in this museum or place, whatever, gallery, and he invited members of the public to come in and use certain items that were laid out on a table, or they could bring items. They could do whatever they wanted to him in the privacy. I don't know if there might not even been bodyguards or something. It was very akin to, if you watch this channel, if you've seen our Hillary Clinton Hot Sauce Gate video, we talked about another similar performance art piece like this by Marina Abramovich, or whatever her name. I always have such a hard time saying it.
To our listeners, if they don't know, you've been accused essentially of doing black magic in order to help Hillary Clinton. I mean, that's kind of
where we are with this.
Creative spirit cooking dinner with a pig blood, basically.
Right. Okay. But that happened that same year. And then, but she did an art piece like this. I'm not going to belabor the point. I also made a whole video about this whole topic, this Shia LaBeouf doing this art thing on That Surprise Witness TV. So that happened during this time, okay?
Because you are doing some things that I am, like I would never do. Some of the things that you've done, and the most recent thing What's it called? Take Me Anywhere?
Yeah, hashtag
Tell people.
Take Me.
It's crazy.
Well, no, yeah. You're vulnerable for sure. You're very vulnerable. So we set up this hashtag, said Take Me Anywhere, and we put our coordinates up on Twitter, and built a little community. And then people would pick us up and take us anywhere they wanted. So some people would take us for 6-hour drives. Some take us, 6 days. It was really up to them, And so there was a big group to sort of. If you could imagine all of us caravanning across the country, it got really wild.
And also during this time, Shia LaBeouf acted in a movie called Nymphomaniac, which was a very strange movie, and I didn't like it. It was nasty, it was gross, wish I never saw it. But while he was doing that movie, again, debauched, depraved movie, not even getting into the details, you can probably look at the title and it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's nasty. A cautionary tale, to say the least, on the scale of Requiem for a Dream. But during that time, during that movie, he falls in love with the lead actress in the movie. And he would later, or at some point, say that he always does that. That's a pattern that he has. So he did that in true him fashion. And then they ended up getting married. Her name Mia Goth, and they have a whole entire side plot of a tumultuous history as well.
Shia LaBeouf has a troubled dating history, and that includes his recent romance with Mia Goth. From fights in Germany to fraudulent weddings, these two are clearly not compatible, but they are forcing their relationship to work. Now, this is one of the most toxic relationships I've come across in a long time.
So he meets her back in this time frame. I don't know, unpopular opinion, but it always did kind of freak me out. He did star in this, I don't even know if I want to put it in here, but he starred in a music video where he was dancing, in a Shia music video with a, at the time, child dancer from Dance Mom. The girl's named Maddie Ziegler. Y'all might have seen her and might have heard from her, but she was playing like miniature Shia. And all I could think is, why does there need to be a miniature? Why can't Shia get her ass in that cage and do the cage match with Shia LaBeouf? And now all I can imagine and think about is, what was he role play method acting at the time? Because now I'm learning that he says he ain't a method actor. He just infuses with the character and he can't come out of it. He don't even know. He can't even explain it. Good Lord. What method was he acting infused as during the cage match with the child? That's what I want to know. It's freaky to me. I don't like that part. Moving on. Okay, so toward the end of this time frame, that's whenever it would all start to come to a head for his reputation in particular. He had kind of been dodging rumors that he was crazy for a while. This all started really popping off even back in 2008 or 10 or whatever. So it all kind of comes to a head, and he ends up being accused in a lawsuit of domestic abuse and violence and a bunch of other depraved things, including that he becomes characters that he plays. He was sleeping in a bed with the pew pew devices, the Second Amendment devices in the bed. He actually literally joined a gang.
With me and him, me trying to, I was trying to join a gang. I was I was hanging out with a bunch of Harpies members and was fully jumped in and was a part of a gang and trying to talk to him about shit. He's looking at me like, bro, you don't know fuck, you got a bunch of tattoos and okay, right, you got jumped in the park, you don't know anything about this shit, and he was generous with me. He could have just wrote me off,
And, at this point in time, it pretty much is, if you were to Google Shia LaBeouf, they would be calling him everything but a child of God. I mean, he is completely canceled off the face of the planet at this point in time. The way that Shia handled the situation, I haven't quite seen anybody do it this way. Maybe, I haven't seen it, but maybe they out there. It's kind of like, even though there's this big lawsuit going on, he is kind of going out here and sort of admitting to a lot of these behaviors, and he's saying he's sorry.
For people who support you and love you, what do you want to say to them?
Yeah, I got amends to make. I got a long list of people that I need to make amends to. And so what I want to say to those people is I get it. It doesn't seem, when it first hit, it was I wanted to air it out and talk about specifics, and none of it really matters. I hurt that woman, and in the process of doing that, I hurt many other people, and many other people before that woman. I was living my life, I was a pleasure-seeking, selfish, self-centered, dishonest, inconsiderate, fearful human being, and I was operating on a survival instinct. I wasn't operating as a friend. I didn't actually. All my loves and friendships were transactional. you know.
And now I'm not saying that makes it better, that makes it worse. I'm not giving my opinion on it. I'm just reporting, here's some clips to back it up. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm refraining from giving my opinion on that one because I don't know enough information. Maybe there's enough out there, maybe there's not. But I personally right now do not possess the information to make an opinion, but I'm just telling you these are things that have been reported and there was a publicly filed lawsuit. One other thing I wanted to mention was this supposedly self-autobiographical movie that Shia LaBeouf had made back in 2012 or 2014 called Honey Boy. And all one has to do is have the most basic knowledge of Shia LaBeouf and his career and the Even Stevens and all of that and watch this Honey Boy trailer to know who the movie is based on. It's very clear it's about a child actor whose dad is a drunk and is on, stage behind the scenes acting and coaching the child along, and it's they go through this tumultuous time period. This is all in the trailer. I can't bring myself to watch the movie. The trailer brought me to tears, truly. So, in the trailer, this is what it's described as. Well, as it ends up coming out, Shia LaBeouf recanted the movie. He's like, oh, just kidding. That was all lies. I was lying. I don't know why I did that. I was going crazy. And it's wow. The fact he was on Even Stevens, the fact that he played the funny character, and then so much of it is just straight up lies, and then why would he put it out there? It was just very strange. It actually reminded me of the movie that, what's his name, Joaquin Phoenix made when he was like, I'm not an actor anymore, and P. Diddy was in that movie.
Hearing the music, I like the first two cuts. I think it went downhill after that, but that happens with everybody, you know what I'm saying?
It was like a weird...
That's you. Drop some water.
Anyway, we can cut that out. Fast forward to 2024, and Shia LaBeouf is still married to Mia Goth. That is the woman that he met while doing that Nymphomaniac movie. In January of this year, 2024, Shia was reported to have said that he wants to become a Catholic deacon, and he joined the Capuchin Friars, which is a Catholic religious order created by Saint Francis of Assisi. So it's okay, so he wants to become a friar, like that thing from, remember the Robin Hood and Little John walking through the fall, and he's got a bald spot on his head, he's wearing the brown thing. That is what Saint Francis of Assisi looks like. He's got the brown on. Members of this particular thing that he wants to become, they have 3 knots tied in their belt, and they are to represent the Franciscan vows of chastity, poverty, and obedience. So now they're gonna have to be having this man, what does he call it? Not method act, immersion act as a friar. I bet, listen, in 5 years we're gonna hear a movie came out, he was a friar.
There was a movie, wait, it was for a movie, wait. Okay, hold on.
Sin to question these things. It feels like a sin to be angry with the Lord.
I got the man becoming a friar. Is he still trying to become a friar? Yeah, it was 2 years ago he was in the movie. He can't break loose. He got to do it for real now. My immediate thought was there's worse stuff to can't get out of. Heath Ledger comes to mind. Getting stuck as the Joker. Can't break out of that. Can't break loose. But then I'm thinking about it. It's I know exactly almost nothing except them 3 knots in the belt about these people. What if they're freaks or something? Okay, so now we're to Megalopolis. Let's talk about that. This movie's already full of drama. Okay. TLDR on the movie is couldn't tell you possibly what this movie is about. It seems like it was part based on a true story of Rome or whatever, part based on a true story of Hollywood, and these characters are also supposed to be representing people, and my current conspiracy theory is the guy that Shia LaBeouf is playing is Diddy. It's my theory. I don't know why I think that. I just made it up today in the morning, and I'm gonna go with it until further notice. And then I think it's also partially just this guy, the director, Francis Ford Coppola. He's a huge deal in Hollywood. He did The Godfather something. I don't know. It was something he's a big deal. He's a big deal. I think it was Godfather or The Sopranos, one of those mafia mob things. He's 85 years old this year. Now, he's apparently been working on this movie idea since 1977. And I guess nobody wanted to do the movie. I'm really not exactly sure.
It's special for me. I did a reading with Francis probably about 37 years ago around a table of actors, and I wondered what this film was.
I remember Francis, I was aware of it at least 30, maybe 35 years ago, maybe even longer. He was always talking about it.
Shia LaBeouf is playing a character in this movie that ends up wearing this dress. I don't know why. I guess we'll find out. I got tickets, bought my tickets this morning. I'm gonna go see it. The movie, like, who even cares what it's about, because already it's so full of so much drama. There is so much drama going on, like the stuff I already just told you. Then the guy to make it, Francis, he had to sell off like a big portion of his wine business. It was like $500 million stake in his wine business he sold off just to make this movie, and ended up being a $120 million project. They've been filming it for I don't know how long.
Finance Megalopolis with money from your wine business. What's the biggest risk?
I financed it with, I borrowed the money. I used the wine business as had the heft to do it, but I basically just owe the bank $130 million. It's a big debt.
Then this year it came time to premiere it to a very select group of industry insiders, like Disney streaming, although they couldn't be there. The guy he wanted to be there couldn't be there because they were doing some type of proxy war. I don't know, something's going on with their shareholder. I don't know, something. Hulu, the big people, they're all there, and it's like a small group, and it's like, okay, who wants to put this out? Do we want to put this out on Netflix? Do we want to put this out on whatever, movies, this, that, the other? And in that super exclusive industry insider thing in April earlier this year, it was reported that it was looking bleak. The movie was experimental. It was, maybe just this last hoorah, this guy just trying to have fun on his last movie set. It was self-financed. Nobody could tell him what to do. Maybe that was a bad thing. But then again, consider the source. There's conflicts of interest. The movie industry don't like whenever somebody makes their own movie without being able to put their own input before they put it out. They're not just going to usually take somebody's whole, everybody wants final edit. He puts it out on his own, so, allegedly by selling some of his business. Shia LaBeouf was at that premiere as well. Not premiere, but like that little pitch. No, it was like a little pitch to the streaming services. And it was reported in the news at that time, like they did not like it. It was mixed. And some people were like, oh, I get it or whatever. Well, a couple more months goes by and then they do it on the Cannes Film Festival. He hasn't been at the Cannes Film Festival, like presenting a movie like this, in 45 years. So they do finally premiere it, and it got a 10-minute standing ovation. Now, I will say them people over there are the same ones doing the yacht freak-offs off of St. Bart's, so they don't really always have the best taste. And I'm predicting it's probably going to be something a little shocking, a little avant-garde, and a little subversive if I had to guess. We're going to see. I might have to cover my eyes up in the theater, which I've done as an adult. Then in June, the director, remember this guy, Francis Ford Coppola, who also happens to be Nicolas Cage's uncle and Spike Jonze's ex-father-in-law. He must be related to Henry Ford to keep Ford in his name that much like that. I mean, I'm just figuring. So back in June, this guy, the director of the Megalopolis movie, he was accused by Variety magazine and another magazine as well of running off his director chair in the middle of a Bacchanalian festival nightclub scene to run and hug and kiss and touch the scantily clad and or not wearing any top female extras and actresses on the set. So that's what was being reported. And I have wrote here, he is suing people for $15 million. So everything I say about this, put up a receipt to show that it was Variety that said it, because the man is suing people for $15 million. According to the article that accused him, he, quote, kept leaping up to hug and kiss several women, often inadvertently inserting himself into the shot and ruining it. The article goes on to say that the director went on the megaphone, Francis, and said, "Sorry if I come up to you and kiss you. Just know it's solely for my pleasure." End quote from the article. But this man is fighting back. Like I mentioned, he's now suing for $15 million over these claims, but we will have to see how it all shakes up in court. But it seems like it's going to be good. Like I said, it did receive a 10-minute standing ovation, the Megalopolis movie, and I guess apparently that convinced them to put it in theaters, because it is now going to be coming out in the theaters. Like I said, I already got my tickets. So the next section was titled, Shia LaBeouf is a widely known method actor, but I have to correct myself before I can even start, because this is what he has to say about those postulations.
You're seen as one of the best actors in your generation, and when I watch your films, I'm reminded of people like, De Niro and Pacino and Daniel Day-Lewis, and some of these people who are more identified with, the method acting style, Stanislavski and all that. I'm just wondering, do you agree with that? Would you say you're kind of a method actor, and if so, what's involved in that?
I think people put that on me, but
yeah.
and I'm honored by the people you just mentioned to be included that way or be perceived that way. I don't identify with that school of thought, really. I don't really know what I do or where it comes from or how it happens. I know that I feel a whole lot. I got a big heart. I don't know if I'm a method guy. And I think some of that stuff's ridiculous.
So like kind of the staying in character, that's sort of the cliche.
I like to be immersive. Yeah. I like all immersive experience, not just acting. It's probably why I like Catholicism as well. I like all immersion. I like being I like adventure. And that requires like full immersion. So I would consider myself an immersive actor, but method acting has like a bad smell to it.
Like too technical, too intellectual.
And just kind of douchey, kind of like just like mean.
This method acting thing, I mean, to be fair to Shia, and truly, I don't really know if I'm using the right terminology, but I have a theory that it's like not really acting. It's like living as that character fully 100% and trying to, and maybe even perhaps successfully thinking as something different than yourself or something. Like, I don't know if it's called method acting, but whatever that thing is where you like don't like, oh, end scene and it's over and you stay the character for like at least throughout the duration of acting as the character, whatever that is. I don't know if method acting is the right word, but we did talk about it with Ariana Grande. We recently did that video, and then also with the Penn Badgley, and it caused me concern because if he's doing that and he's a serial killer in the Netflix original, it's way more sinister and darker than I had originally believed. But we did talk about it, and if you put that in the context of the other stuff we mentioned in the video, the bag on the head, the letting the people do whatever, the becoming a gangster, the lawsuit, sleeping with the gun under the bed, which I will say with that lawsuit, one other thing, let's circle back to that real quick. One of the allegations that FK Twigs makes in her lawsuit is he would sleep with a Second Amendment thing under his pillow or in his bed with him because he took on the character of this gangster. But we found elsewhere where he said he'd always, or somebody had Patrick Cece reported that he had always done that because he was afraid from his childhood.
His father was admitted into rehab when Shia was just 9 years old, leaving him and his mother extremely vulnerable. While living with his mother in a Los Angeles motel, Shia overheard a man R-word her. Not being able to do anything about it at such a young age, this tragedy caused a great deal of anger to build in his young soul. To this day, Shia sleeps with a gun under his pillow because of the incident, stating, "I've always thought somebody was coming in my whole life."
So that's a discrepancy, and I don't know which one's true. I have no further insight. I'm just pointing out that there's discrepancy out there. And then that brings me back to Megalopolis. It's like, wow, could this be any different? I looked into the character that Shia LaBeouf is supposedly allegedly playing, Claudio or whatever from History or whatever, and it's like the longest Wikipedia page I ever saw in my life, first of all. Boring AF. Felt like I was reading a history book and not in a fun one, and it was not a lot of pictures, you know. But it was just, I don't really get it. I don't really know what this movie, what aspects of him, I couldn't glean it. It was like, it seems like I really have to understand this character, who this Claudio from History is. On top of the fact that I do suspect that it's probably also heavily inspired by someone else in Hollywood or in this director's life. I don't really know, but it does make me a lot more curious about the character that Shia LaBeouf is playing. There's also been some more drama with the movie because it's been reported that Shia LaBeouf is difficult to work with and he's like a nightmare for the directors. And the director, Francis, he came out and actually answered interview questions to the Telegraph about this. And again, this is despite the director, he has his own allegations, you know, about this film himself. Bear that in mind, but he does say Shia's method was infuriating and illogical. So infuriating and illogical, it had him, quote, pulling his hair out. But he kind of seems to forgive Shia, and he seems to understand this is just part of what you get when you hire him, because this is what the director said about Shia LaBeouf. But he's had a string of problems, and on set, he does create tremendous conflict. His method of what? Acting. His method, I'm quoting the Telegraph interview from the director Francis Ford Coppola, take it up with him. His method was so infuriating and illogical it had me pulling my hair out, end quote. Nevertheless, Coppola stood by the Holes actor throughout the production, explaining that art is chaotic. When it's efficient, something's going wrong. To some extent, like, there's some truth in that, but it's way too extreme. Like, art is necessarily chaotic and it never can be efficient. I think that's a bit extreme. But yeah, I could see actually, if that's how it is, how conservatorships are just handed out, because it's like you can't break your character to go to court. Somebody needs to program in a court altar for him. Quit. Stat. The director goes on in the interview to say, art is chaotic when it's efficient, something's going wrong, and he claims that, quote, art is above politics, or at least it should be. And it's like, okay, please stop. No, because now you're going to trigger my anti-art boy altar, because no, what do you mean art is above politics? Art is inextricably intertwined with politics. There's no separation of art from politics. Art is more politics than anything. What are you freaking talking about? Art is above politics. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Please. Stupid. Get the man's frontal lobe checked. And it's not a surprise that this director, Francis Ford Coppola, would maybe want to shield or protect Shia as an actor for many reasons. One being he personally has a lot invested in this movie, so he needs to make sure nobody's reputations are besmirched too bad. But also, as we mentioned, innocent till proven guilty and all of that, innocent till it's decided and all of that, not liable, all that. Both of these men have faced their own criticisms, and both of them have been in Hollywood for a very long time. According to Coppola, whenever he addressed the allegations that are being brought against him for his behaviors on set, and there is video, there's clips, maybe we already played them, but here they are right here. If not, he does clearly appear, if this is him, I don't know, I wasn't there, but looks like it's him, to get off his chair, walk over there, hug and kiss these extras. And even one of them kind of is pulling away like, you're hoping he don't come by her, in my opinion, from what I can see here. You make up your own mind. But the guy, he's come out and he's tried to defend himself. And he says he was merely doing what Hollywood does when he was recording the movie. And people are being unfair to him. He's comparing himself to an unwanted or neglected child. And everybody in Hollywood is supposed to be his parents. It's very strange. Let me read the quote from his own interview. Okay, same interview I just quoted about Shia LaBeouf being, does create a tremendous conflict. Okay, same interview, the director says, regarding the wider chaos and controversial cast in the movie, this is what he's quoted as saying, I always felt like a creation of Hollywood. Now, Hollywood doesn't want me anymore. They're the parents that disown the unruly child. They created me. Now they don't want me. I understand it, but it still hurts my feelings. I accept it, but I also can't. 85, acting like a child. And I do believe that these people get so messed up at a young age, their brain just can't grow no more. It's just something happened to them. Psychologically, mental health wise. I'm not a doctor. Please consult your own doctor. I do not know. One thing I do find interesting is how differently these two otherwise seemingly kind of similar Hollywood character types are responding to criticism and to allegations against their character. On the one hand, we have Shia LaBeouf running up and down and basically admitting to a lot of the stuff from the lawsuits. Now, very importantly, I want to be clear, he does not admit to everything. He actually adamantly denies a lot of the stuff in the lawsuits, but he does admit that he wasn't ideal, which is more than most people will do. We have, on the one hand, Shia is doing that. On the other hand, we got Francis whining, crying, running out doing interviews to protect not only his own reputation, but also Shia LaBeouf's, suing for $15 million. Well, you should, honestly, isn't all press good press to these people? They should be happy. Should be happy they're advertising for him. I really don't know. But yeah, this 85-year-old Francis Coppola making excuses for his behaviors. Hollywood made him that way. It was Hollywood. And now Hollywood mean. Hollywood no help me no more. At the very least, at the extreme very least, I see a difference between these two. And the major difference that I see between Shia and Francis is Shia's apparent willingness to at least take some type of responsibility for his own actions and at least maybe be a little bit sorry or at least say those words out loud. At the very, very least. And makes steps to change his behaviors, because now, praise Jesus, he is going to be tying the 3 knots and being with the chastity, obedience, and poverty. Amen. Praise the Lord. Looking forward to watching that movie. If anything else happens, I'll keep y'all updated, I guess. But yeah, make sure to subscribe to that other channel, because who knows what'll come out over there or here, and turn your notification on and all that. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye. Take it back to the
my spine. Show 'em what I'm talking about. Show 'em like this. It's that 225. It's that 318. That 504. That overdrive. Little pond, big fish. One shot, don't miss. Heard it like this before. Back to the dance floor. Yeah.